Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Well, my final guest this morning is a six-time entrepreneur with over 30 years' experience in founding, financing and building software companies. And Dennis Kelly is now bringing direct mail back into the marketing mix. Dennis, we'll be discussing your business, Postayltics, but while you were living in Boston, with a name like Dennis Kelly, you must have Irish heritage.
Good morning, Karl, and thank you for having me on. Yes, in fact, my family is originally from Cork, County Cork, a town called Newcestown, down near Kinsale. And we visited there a few years ago. Lovely, wonderful time. My wife and I are now saying we want to own some land in Ireland, so you may be seeing us sooner rather than later.
So talk to us about your early entrepreneurial experiences. What were your greatest successes?
Sure thing. So at a young age, I got involved in what was known at the time as a computer company. There was really not a lot of distinction between software and hardware back in the late 1980s. And a friend of mine from college started this company with his brother, and it was focused on the healthcare market here in the States. I joined as the first salesperson. We had a lot of ups and downs, had some very difficult times, but ultimately we were able to build a substantial software company that did very well and ended up selling that business by the time I was 30 years old.
And what challenges did you have to overcome in growing that business?
Well, the primary challenge is that we had no idea what we were doing. So, all we knew is that we would work very hard. And so we had to learn a lot of lessons about how to hire the right people, when to let people that were not the right people go, how to narrow your focus on a market and solve a very specific problem for that market. And, those were lessons that, we had to learn the hard way because we had no idea. And so we wasted time, we wasted money, nearly went out of business many times. But thankfully we're able to pull it together eventually as we learned and to scale the business.
From a software perspective specifically then, what are you finding is the best sales strategy in order to gain traction?
Well, from a software perspective, the internet has fundamentally changed the way that software is distributed. We all know that. And so what you're able to do is to solve very, very specific problems for what you may consider to be a niche audience, a small group of people. But if you solve that problem very, very well, the internet opens up the entire world to you. And so even though you may be thinking that the group that you're focusing on is a small group, if you think about that on a worldwide perspective, that's a big market. There's a lot of people. And so when you really narrow your focus and do a great job of solving problems for a specific audience, the internet has absolutely opened up the world for you to grow your business easily and quickly.
On that basis then, are you utilising LinkedIn as a result? And if so, how are you using that tool?
We do use LinkedIn primarily for two reasons. Number one, we do a lot of what we call content marketing, where we're building out blog posts and other types of communication that is more informational in its construct than salesy. And we use LinkedIn to distribute that content and to find audiences that are attracted to our educational and informational content. Then our salespeople use LinkedIn to target specific people at specific companies that are likely to be interested in what Postalytics is trying to sell.
So I want to speak to you now in greater detail about your business, Postalytics. What is it and what services do you provide?
So Postalytics is a software company based here in the States that provides what is known as direct mail marketing. So we call it a direct mail automation platform. And some people say, that's an oxymoron. That makes no sense. How can direct mail be automated? Because direct mail, as you know, is printed and mailed through the Postal Service. Well, what we've done is built software that enables direct mail to be sent, integrated, and tracked the same way that you would have with email marketing or digital marketing, except you're actually printing and mailing postcards and letters and similar types of materials. And so we automate that entire process for marketers.
Now, many of our listeners this morning might be thinking, direct mail, isn't that something that is gone out of fashion at this stage, and hasn't it been replaced by digital marketing? So on that basis, is it making a comeback?
It really is, Karl, and there are a couple of reasons why. Well, number one, while the amount of mail being sent through the Postal Service is significantly less than 20 years ago, there's still a lot of mail. So direct mail in the States, there's about a $40 billion U.S. annual spend. So it's still a big business. That's number one. Number two, the competition in email marketing and in digital marketing has increased so much over the last 5 to 10 years that the cost is much higher and the returns are lower. So you have to work harder and harder to get your message through. It's hard for marketers to stand out using only email or only digital. And so direct mail through an automated system like Postalytics can plug into your campaigns, plug into your email marketing, and target only the people that don't open your emails. And so what marketers are using direct mail for now is really to complement their digital and email campaigns to boost the returns of that spend.
People may say, well, there's lots of direct mail still coming through their letterbox, but it's not something that they pay any attention to.
Yes, people may say that, but the data says something different. And you know, when you talk to a business owner or you talk to a marketer, they always say, I want to be data-driven. I'm a data-driven marketer. And then when you hear them say things like, well, I don't look at my direct mail, then, well, are you really data-driven, or are you judging things from your own experience? That's my question. The data says that direct mail has a high response rate relative to other marketing channels. And so in the States, currently, direct mail has a 50% higher response rate than email marketing. And so if you have customers that have a high long-term value, then you should be using direct mail as a part of your mix.
Tell me, Dennis, how does the service actually work?
Absolutely. We have built a network of print and mail partners around the United States and Canada. And we've built software that enables marketers to create a free account on our website and pull together their creative. They can design postcards and letters just like they're designing an email. They can integrate, connect to their CRM. So if you have Salesforce or HubSpot or any of the leading CRM tools, you can connect directly to your CRM, pull in your customers that you segment and you determine you want to send mail to, and then with just a couple of clicks, you send. And the mail is being pulled together automatically in the background, distributed out to our print partners, put it in the mail, and then tracked. We're actually able to track the mail as it's going through the delivery process, and we embed QR codes on every piece of mail so that when you get that piece of mail and it's got, let's say, a free drink at the pub on your birthday, you hit that QR code, boom, we know that this is Karl from this specific piece of mail saying, hey, I want to get this coupon for this free drink. And so all of that data is pulled together in a dashboard so you understand exactly what happens after you send.
So who is your target market for this particular service, Dennis?
We have had tremendous success in the real estate sector in the States. Obviously, addresses and physical locations are very important in real estate, right? And so we've had a tremendous success there. We've had tremendous success in the targeting agencies. marketing agencies that do campaigns for their clients are using Postalytics because it's so much faster. It's so much more productive. It's so much easier. So those are a couple of the verticals that have been very, very successful in using Postalytics, and we're accelerating our sales and marketing efforts to reach into those verticals.
And is there an option here, Dennis, to go directly to HubSpot and to Salesforce and for them to add your particular service as an add-on to their own software offering?
That's a great question. And yes, that is actually one of the tactics that we have used. We have listings in our CRM partners, technology partner pages. So you can go into the partner directory. If you search for direct mail, you'll find Postalytics. And because we have those integrations already built, you can simply click through there, set up your Postalytics account, make your integration with your Salesforce or your HubSpot, and you're off to the races.
So talk to us about your growth to date. What have you achieved?
So we've been growing on average between 60 and 90% on an annual basis since 2017.
And what are your long-term growth plans for the business?
We are planning to continue to build out more software. We believe we can solve more problems. We believe that we will be moving upstream into larger and larger customers over time. So the idea, the strategy is to target those mid-sized businesses and then attack from underneath and come up into larger organizations as we build out our infrastructure to support those mid-sized businesses. We see a long roadmap ahead of this business. We think there's another 10 or 15-year run here. A lot of new software to build out markets. We want to go to the EU. We want to go to the UK. We're going to go to Asia. So we have a long way to go here with this business.
And in terms of your product roadmap, what other services are you likely to get into?
Yeah, so there's a couple of key things that we're going to be focused on. Number one is building out a capability to do very sophisticated testing of different types of creative. And so if you can imagine, I want to send campaigns out to an audience. I want to test how a letter works compared to a postcard. And you could do a lot of that today, but you have to do it all kind of manually and track everything manually. So we're building out a very sophisticated testing system so that you can constantly be looking for better performance out of your campaigns through an automated testing sequence. And then the other thing that we'll be doing is building more integrations with more software and building out a bigger geographic footprint, as I was mentioning before.
And Dennis, finally, it would be amiss of me not to look for advice from you for aspiring entrepreneurs in the software space, having so much experience under your belt. So what advice have you got for them this morning?
Well, my first advice, and maybe this is in conflict with the first story I told, is just get started. Do it. Don't talk about it too much. Don't think about it too much. Just get started. It's really people who take action and get out and get their hands dirty and find some early customers, work nights and weekends, do all that hard lifting, the heavy lifting, the dirty work. Not many people want to do that. And if you're in software and you can find some good technical people, if you are technical, that's great. Just get started. Find a problem. Find a real problem you can solve. Go find some customers. Do the hard work. And it will ultimately pay off. If you're paying attention, you listen, you hear, you adapt, and you'll come up with a product that will be very productive for a particular audience. You'll be able to build a business around it.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Dennis Kelly from Postalytics, and I'd like to thank Dennis for joining us on this morning's show.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.